The small mountain town of Cascade Springs, Oregon, wasn't the kind of place people moved back to. Most teenagers who grew up in its misty valleys and sleepy streets fled to cities for brighter lights and bigger dreams. But for Lily Hart, returning after 12 years felt less like defeat and more like the beginning of something unknown. She arrived on the first snowfall of December, her suitcase worn, her heart cracked, and her spirit quieter than it had ever been. The town hadn't changed much. The local bakery still smelled like cinnamon rolls and old gossip. The antique bookstore on Main still had creaky floors and cats curled on the windowsill. But the one thing that startled her most was the sight of Aiden Blake behind the counter of the coffee shop, her childhood best friend, and the boy who had once promised to never leave her side. He was wiping down a counter when he looked up and saw her. His hands froze. For a second, the air between them was more frigid than the snowy street outside. Then, slowly, his face broke into a smile, a little cautious, a little hopeful. "Lily Hart," he said, like the words were made of winter air and memory. "Aiden Blake," she replied, her voice softer than she intended. She hadn't told anyone she was coming back. The house her grandmother left her was waiting just outside town, dust-covered and brimming with shadows of the past. Lily had come to fix it up, sell it, and return to New York. But with each passing day in Cascade Springs, something deeper began to stir. Aiden offered her free coffee the next morning. The next week, he helped her paint the old porch. Before long, they were falling into old patterns, laughing at nothing, sharing quiet walks through the pines, daring each other to sled down Suicide Hill like they did when they were 12. And every time their hands brushed, something unspoken sparked in the space between them. One evening, after they'd just strung lights across her fence and the snow fell like whispered secrets, Lily finally asked, "Why did you never leave?" Aiden leaned back on the porch railing, his breath curling in the cold air. "Because this town may be small, but it's where the pieces of my heart are buried. And because the only person I ever wanted to leave with, left without me." She looked down, guilt pooling in her stomach. "I thought you'd follow." "I almost did," he said. "I even packed a bag once. But I figured if you wanted me in your new world, you'd have left space." The silence that followed was heavy. But it also felt honest. Weeks rolled into January. Lily found herself avoiding calls from New York, lingering longer at the coffee shop, spending evenings in Aiden's old truck, watching stars above snow-covered pines. The town she once escaped was slowly becoming the only place that felt like home. Then one night, a blizzard blew through. Power went out across the town. Aiden showed up at her door, lantern in hand, face dusted with snow. "I brought cocoa," he said with a grin. They sat in front of the fireplace, wrapped in quilts, sipping cocoa that tasted like memories. The air crackled, not just from the fire, but from everything left unsaid for 12 years. "I missed you," she whispered. "I waited for you," he replied. They didn't kiss that night. They didn't need to. The way she leaned into him, and the way his arm curled around her, said everything. The next morning, Lily woke to the sun glistening on a world turned white and still. She stepped outside and found Aiden clearing snow from her walkway, wearing that same lopsided beanie he'd had since high school. "I was thinking," he said, "maybe you don't sell the house." "And do what with it?" she asked. "Live in it. With someone who remembers where you planted your first rose bush. Who knows your favorite book. Someone who never stopped loving me," she finished. He nodded. She didn't respond. She just walked up to him and kissed him. Soft and slow, with 12 years of silence stitched between their lips. The town of Cascade Springs was quiet that morning, but if you listened closely, you could hear it, the sound of a second chance unfurling like spring beneath snow. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Love 2 Hearts. Tell us in the comments, have you ever found love where you least expected it? Evergreen Tree Sparkles.